Join the Common Man at 5 Iron Golf in Minneapolis tonight. Join the official, unofficial ambassador of Minnesota Golf at 5 Iron's newest location in North Loop from 5 to 7 p.m. Check out their simulators where you can play iconic courses, enjoy chef-inspired dishes, craft cocktails, and enter to win great prizes in a Closest to the Pin challenge. RSVP now for this free event at KFAN.com, keyword calendar.
And we'll even allow you to have one of those. Well, you have to buy it, but you can buy a craft cocktail and trip the light fandango. If you're a woman, start the 1 o'clock hours we always do with little 5, 3, 4.
Time now for 5 questions. Well, actually 3, but 5 sounds like more than 4. Question number 1.
It's now time to take an in-depth look at the welfare of the Wolves.
Let's begin with on the court. Anthony Edwards scored 29 points, added 9 rebounds as the Wolves beat the Bulls 127-108 last night at Target Center. Naz Reid added 22 points, 10 rebounds, and 6 assists. Rudy Gobert had 15 rebounds with 9 of them on the offensive end. Common, what sticks out to you from last night's Wolves win?
They're playing a terrible team. And think about this. If you really don't have a lot of hands to begin with, how could the Bulls be a short-handed team? They're just so bad. So, but you got, those are the ones that got to win. That's it. They took care of business. They didn't 2 previous games. They probably should have won. Certainly, I don't care who you got. You beat Washington, and you should have beat Sac too.
By the
but
way,
they didn't.
49 for Anthony. I don't know why I said 29.
Yeah, I don't either. Yeah, he went off for 49. He had some quotes about people were like, you're disappointed not to get 50 because apparently he missed a couple of free throws and a layup or 2 late in the game. But and he said no, and I like that answer. I mean, sure he wants to get 50. It's kind of cool. You'll see yourself on ESPN. But like he said, he's young, he's fun, he's young and wild and free. He's got plenty of time to score 50. So nice win. It's just win the ones you have to, and then win a few more of the kind of even Steven games where you're playing a team that's of your caliber, right in that same neighborhood. Win more of those than you lose, and they'll be fine. Get a nice seed, and then Chip Chair and a chance. And we'll see what happens.
Question number 2.
It's now time to take an in-depth look at the welfare of the Wolves.
My favorite Sir Hans song.
Now the off-the-court news. The question of who owns the Timberwolves and Lynx should be answered either tomorrow or Monday, according to the Star Tribune.
I'll bet Monday.
Attorneys for current majority owner Glenn Taylor and attorneys for minority owners Mark Lowry and Alex Rodriguez made their arguments in front of a 3-member arbitration panel in November in Minneapolis. The arbitration process was built into their purchase agreement, and the final decision will be binding and likely unappealable. Common, whether it's tomorrow or Monday, who will be the owner of the Minnesota Timberwolves and Lynx?
Well, let me say this first. If the answer, instead of coming on Friday or Monday, comes on Saturday or Sunday, I'm on call. I will come in and work. I'll even work a full 3-hour shift, but I'd even do a couple of hours or an hour, kind of a special report on the Wolves' ownership issue being settled. So I'm just announcing closer to Chad Abbott, I'm on call. I'd even call me crazy, I'd even go as far as to say I'd go down to the cage and broadcast. That's dedication to the craft, to the club, to the station, to the listeners. That's the kind of guy, to me, team player. I'm the anti-Jimmy Butler. So they have 3 arbiters, all legal people, judges. They were attorneys and judges and district court judges and Supreme Court. They've been everywhere, right? Each side got to select their own judge. So Glenn got one of the locals. A-Rod and And Peter Lorre got somebody from Washington, D.C., or Delaware, very highly regarded from what I understand. And then the third one, I think, is a local person, too. So I'll just go with the local angle. I think Glenn gets the club. And I'm not suggesting they're leaning toward Glenn because they're local. I just think that's the way it's going to go. I think, what we do not know is both sides. It's probably not as simple as it sounds, but it's sort of like when you were needed to make that last or that 40% payment that would have put you over the top as far as majority owner. The deadline came and went, you didn't deposit the dough. Is it possible Glenn could come out sometime today or tomorrow and say, with the way this season's been going, I've decided I don't want the club anymore. That he'll change his mind and say, it's all yours. Take it. Because I think, with a couple of reasons. I know that the value of the franchise went up extensively, right? From the time he decided to sell, had a verbal agreement, even written paper, whatever they did with Lorre and Rodriguez. But the team started playing like they'd never played before. So I'm sure Glenn's going, I owned this team for all those years, and now they're finally going to win an NBA title, or he thought they were going to. So I think that's why he wanted it more than any. But I kind of think Glenn's going to get the nod.
Question number 3.
Just my gut, nothing to leave.
Programming predicament.
Oh, no.
Yes, tonight the Wild host the Carolina Hurricanes, 6:30 p.m. start. You can watch it on Hulu or ESPN Plus. Of course, you can listen to it right here on the Fan. Timberwolves, second game in a back-to-back. They host the Houston Rockets at 7 p.m. You can watch it on FanDuel Sports Network or listen to it on the Wolves channel on the iHeartRadio app. Or you can just obviously make it one of your presets on the new iHeartRadio app. And the Gophers women's basketball team, they host Iowa at 7 p.m. That's a border battle on the Big Ten Network. You can hear that game on KFAN Plus, 96.7 FM. Common, what are you going to do about tonight's
programming predicament?
Go ahead.
Just sit right back and you'll hear a tale of a faithful child.
I love reruns of Gilligan's Island. Gigans, as Deuce used to call it. I mean, it was a mighty sailing man. The skipper was brave and sure. 5 passengers set sail that day on a 3-hour tour. A 3-hour. Then you know what happens, NB? The weather started getting rough. And the Tenna Fitzgerald was tossed. If not for the courage of the fearless crew, the Tenna Fitzgerald would be lost. The Tenna Fitzgerald would be lost. Well, then the ship got ground on the shore of this uncharted desert isle with Gilligan. Then there's the skipper, a millionaire and his wife. That'd be Glenn Taylor and his wife. And then there's the movie star.
Yeah, baby.
Marianne.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, I think I'll watch Gigans. If I was going to pick, there's the M too. I could sing that, but we'll dispense with that. If I were to watch one, believe it or not, I'd probably watch the Wolves. I think the Wild, they're just kind of biding their time.
Spinning their wheels.
Yeah, they're spinning their wheels until we get Kaprizov back. And who else is out?
Oh, Ryan Hartman suspended 10 games.
Yeah.
Other than that, I mean, Locko just got put on into reserve, but they got Brodeen back.
Oh, that's right. Brody's back. The Gopher women's game, though, is kind of interesting because aren't they sort of bubblish right now as far as NCAA tournament? And playing, Big Ten rival Iowa's kind of an interesting game. But the Rockets, I think, are one of the better teams in the West. And so this is okay. Sure, you can beat, you can put up 49 against, Ant can put up 49 against Chicago. Sure, that's all well and good. But let's see what happens here when you play a pretty good. I think they beat Houston the last time they played. So, that's the game I think I would watch. But I think I'm in for Gigans.
Question number 3.
We're gonna win, Twins, we're gonna score.
It's now time to delve deep into Twins territory.
Crack out a home run, shout a hit, hooray! Cheer for the Minnesota Twins today.
Yeah, we touched on this a little bit yesterday, Common, but the Pacoda projections are out. They have the Minnesota Twins as the favorites to win the AL Central this season. Pacoda has them averaging 86.2 wins. They give them a 49.7% chance of winning the division, 62.9% chance of making the playoffs. Common 86.2 wins. Would you take the
over? or under?
Under. You know what? Cleveland, Detroit, Kansas City, they're all overrated. We're bringing back almost everybody from last year. We got a great starting lineup, We got 3 top starters at the 1, 2, and 3 spots. Our bullpen's really good. We got a great manager. We're getting new ownership. Everything's coming up roses. I like the... matter of fact, 86 is kind of an insult. That should have been 96 over and under. So, go Twins. That's how we baseball.
And that's it for today's edition of 5 Questions. Well, actually 3 questions, but 5 sounds like more than 4.
Plenty more to get to. I just don't know what it is yet. I have to look. But then, Mark Rosen at 2 o'clock. Right now, though, keyword from Tenna.
The fan wants to give you a shot to put $1,000 in your hand with our national cash contest. Enter the keyword bank at KFAN.com now for a shot at winning. That keyword is bank. Enter now at KFAN.com. $1,000 in your hand is back on KFAN. We have 9 chances for you to win $1,000 every weekday. That's every hour from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. To enter the keywords and learn more, head to KFAN.com.
I think I might trademark elevated scrotum.
You'll make a ton off of that.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
I thought, Jay, you were thinking the same thing I was. I'm always thinking about trying to find a way to make an extra buck. Is what I'm trying to do. There's 2 things I wanted to get to. Oh! I know you don't talk to Potato often, but if you run into her in the next day or 2, don't tell her I didn't eat her lunch today. I put her lunch in the refrigerator. Well, it's my lunch that she made the food. It was a chicken and rice thing, and she made some broccoli. And if you just got frozen broccoli from a plastic bag that's boiled in the water, it's just awful. She had fresh broccoli. She roasted it and put olive oil on it and some garlic and shredded just a little bit of Parmesan cheese on it and a couple of other spices. I don't know. It's so good. So I had a little of that, chicken and rice, and then I got here and all of a sudden some guy brings in Dave's hot chicken. You tried Dave's hot chicken? You had your own lunch today.
I had my own lunch, yeah.
It was so good. I had one of the spicy sliders, but it wasn't overly spicy. You know me, I like a little bit of kick to my food, but not too much. It was just delicious. The other thing you might not have liked was they had pickles on it too, and it was so good. Pickles and slaw. And right now, Dave's Hot Chicken is having a contest. Enter for your chance to score an entire year of Dave's Hot Chicken hot boxes. But the final day to enter is today. Go to hashtag Dave's Hot Chicken, hashtag Dave's Hot Box, hashtag Dave's Hot Chicken Bites, or at Dave's Hot Chicken for your chance to win. One winner gets free Dave's Hot Boxes for a year. You know what the value on that is? It's going to be $1,300. 50 winners get a big game hot box party, 4 hot boxes, 2 of sliders, 2 of tenders, 10 size of mac and cheese, 2 boxes of big box fries. And then 100 winners will get a $15 gift card from Dave's plus some moich. So I highly recommend Dave's. It was terrific. But don't tell Potato. I still love her cooking. But I did a little of Dave's today. So that's Dave's hot box chicken. It is delicious. I saw this story from earlier in the week. Dateline. The story's by Stephen Wino. And, I know what you're thinking. Does he drink a lot? No, think about this. His name is spelled W-H-Y-N-O. Why no? Why not yes? I would have changed my name to Why Not Yes. instead of why no, be why not yes. They're the same definition, right? Why no, why not yes. Ashburn, Virginia, Associated Press. Washington Commanders controlling owner Josh Harris says the team name is not changing.
Oh my gosh.
Harris said the name is here to stay after he inherited it when he and his group bought the team from longtime owner Dan Snyder in 2023. Here's what Harris said. This was at the season-ending news conference. He said, I think it's now being embraced by our team, by our culture. There's that word, Tenevie. By our coaching staff, so we're going with that. Now, in this building, the name Commanders means something. It's been there for 2 years. It really means something. It's about players who love football, are great at football, hit hard, mentally tough, great teammates. It's really meaningful that name is growing in meaning. He can't be serious about any of that, can he? It's just the name of a team. It has no bearing on how the team performs or not. Otherwise, you change your name to the Washington Winners, right? Because then you're going to win. Not the Commanders. You don't want to be the Washington Losers, but you change your name to Winners. I don't even mind Commanders. I think it's, probably some of it has to do with, Washington is where, the Pentagon is.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are saying on the, what is the
Commander-in-Chief?
A lot of people say the Commander-in-Chief is at the White House. I'm the one that has the codes. So, that's basically.
Yeah. It fits.
It fits. But it doesn't do much for me.
It's better than Washington Football Club.
Yeah. But not better than Washington Walrus.
No, it will never, no.
And that's what they should
have gone with that.
And they should have gone with that.
Did you see Utah is down to their 3? My favorite they can't go with because
Yeti,
the trademark won't let them, Yeti.
Yeah.
But I think it was Mammoth. Forget the other one. And the third one was Utah Hockey Club. Do not go with Hockey Club. Yeah. Don't do it.
Well, they can't just Yeti, but they might be able to, can't they cut a deal with Yeti? The Yeti is the guys that does like coolers and cups and stuff.
Somebody left theirs in here, right here.
Yeah. That might be Nordo. Have you ever heard of Nordo Amori?
No.
It's a bad joke. It's a phrase that's in the news lately. Ordo Amori, the order of love. He goes on to say, aspects of the team's history, including old uniforms, could return, and it's unclear if there would be a new logo. The logo now is just a basic W, right? That's kind of slanted a little bit or something. And again, it's not awful, but it's not one of those where you go, whoa, I got to get me a hat with that on there. Boy, I'd love to have that on a T-shirt.
Well, the colors are already ugly, so then when you combine it with a mediocre logo.
Yeah. He also says, as far as rebranding and bringing back our past, which obviously I grew up with in all the big game championships and our future together, we're going to see us head back towards honoring our past and bringing it together with our future. Just don't use the Indian head logo, dude. You'll get in trouble. People don't like that. That's why you change. So I don't know what they can bring back. It's like even the Guardians was kind of, for Cleveland, was a little.
Yeah, I don't like that one. I like Commanders better than Guardians.
Yeah, and Guardians, I guess, is because isn't that like, it has something to do historically with Cleveland. I don't recall exactly what it is, but something to the effect of on a bridge that leads into the city, they've got statues of God. I don't know what it is, but it's just like, okay, when you don't even understand and you have to explain what it is, this is probably not a good nickname, right? I mean, like, you could have gone with the Cleveland Clubbers. Then had a caveman with a baseball bat over his shoulder, a guy like a Fred Flintstone looking kind of a guy, right? The Cleveland Clubbers. Yeah, I like that. That just popped into my head. You know what I'm a hip nickname trendsetter is what I am. I got the Walrus. And
what would be the next Minnesota name if we ever had a new sports franchise?
Minnesota Mediocres. But I mean, the alliteration's there.
Yeah.
Fits.
Very fitting.
How about the Minnesota Hockey Club? They had that for a while, right? Wasn't that the Frost?
They've talked about having 2 hockey teams here before.
Wasn't that the Frost, though? Weren't they the Minnesota hockey team?
No. Well, I guess technically, yeah, they were all PWHL Minnesota,
Yeah, okay.
PWHL Boston for the first year.
All right. Yeah, because, for me, I do like alliteration. You don't have to have it. I don't think you want to be the Minnesota morons. That's too known. I mean, some people would laugh at it, but they don't like that. So I don't know what they would do in the state of Minnesota. But there you go. They're not going to dispense with the name Commanders, and good for them. If you're looking for a tie-in to Washington, you could have the Washington lobbyists, right? It's fitting.
They're very powerful.
Very powerful.
Yeah.
They always seem to get what they want, and you find sometimes you just can't get what you need. So there you go. Let's do this. Let's take our final break. This hour. The legendary one, Mark Rosen, joins us at 2 o'clock. Tenneby will lead us into a Wild Today segment, and then I've got, I think I want to talk a little free agent football on the other side of the break. Got my eye on a couple of players, Tenneby, for the Purple. We'll do that. But right now, that Wild Today report.
Yeah, this is Wild Today brought to you by Jim Beam, the official bourbon of the Minnesota Wild. The Wild host the Carolina Hurricanes tonight at the X. Carolina lost 3-0 Tuesday night in Winnipeg. That was their second straight loss after they had gone on a 7-game point streak. The Wild placed forward Jakub Lako on injured reserve yesterday because of a lower body injury. They claimed forward Vinny Heinestroza off waivers from Nashville, and he will make his debut tonight. Philip Gustafson will get the start in net. Wild versus Hurricanes tonight at XL Energy Center. Puck drops at 6:30 p.m. You can hear it right here on the Fan. That was Wild Today, brought to you by Jim Beam, a crowd pleaser since 1795. Rock out with Shinedown.
Liberace.
At the Target Center. Experience an electrifying night of powerful performances and chart-topping hits on the Dance Kid Dance Tour on July 28th with special guests Bush.
Bush. Come to the mountains of Bush.
And Morgan Wade.
Morgan Wade.
Get your tickets now and be part of an unforgettable concert experience. Get all the details now at KFAN.com. Keyword calendar. Now. Shop.
Got you. So, just to clear something up, I mentioned what would be the next nickname for a Minnesota sports team, and I threw out Minnesota Morons. That was just an example. That's not available. It's already been taken by the Power Trip Morning Show. So.
They have that trademarked.
Yes, they. Now, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Could you just hear the jealousy in my voice there? You could hear it, couldn't you? When I
could see it, too.
I could see it, too. Boy, it felt good just to rip those guys. They've got everything, and I got nothing. But I wish I was part of that Power Trip Morning Show. I really don't. The free agency thing, really, I don't really know who the Vikings should take. I think we all agree. I think even the team agrees. We need guys in the interior of the offensive line. We could use some defensive backs. But I was looking at this list from CBS Sports. Nobody does lists better than we do. Why? Because list radio is lazy radio. And we're the kings of lazy radio. I'm either lazy, stupid, or both. And I would say it was probably the latter. But anyway, and I don't know if it sounded like they were trying to list them top 550 free agents, and then they have it numbered 1 through 50. So I'm assuming they consider this player the number 1 free agent. Now, there is a caveat. There is an asterisk. Some of these players may resign, or they could get tagged, right?
Sure.
With a franchise or a transition tag. Who do you think they have with a now? I think that they must be ranking them, right? Otherwise, they wouldn't put numbers next to them. Who do you think they think is the number 1 free agent in pro football? Offense. I'll give you a clue of offense.
Don't say Sam Darnold.
No, he's number.
I'm trying to think. I don't even know who's available in free agency.
Darnold's number 7.
Okay.
He's a wideout.
Is that Devontae Adams?
No. Plays for an AFC team. Been catching passes from Joe Burrow.
I was going to say, is T. Higgins a free agent?
T. Higgins.
Yeah.
T. Higgins. He's young, right? Mid-20s probably? He's got plenty of football.
Yeah, I would say
left.
25, 26, yeah.
Yeah, he's got plenty of football. He's really good, right?
He's quality,
Yeah.
yes. I mean, he's been a number 2 there, but he might be able to be a number 1 somewhere else.
Trey Smith, guard, I'd take him. He's 25. I mean, again, what do you have to pay to get him? Would he really want to come here? I mean, the problem with securing free agents from some of these really good teams, and specifically Kansas City, what's good? It's going to take a boatload of money to lure me away from here. It's like I win championships every year. Though after a while, it's like we talked about this the other day, Tenneby. If you're a really good player, star player, you're a Jimmy Butler kind of guy. You've never won a world championship. But that's what you're looking for now, right? You want a world championship. If you've won world championships, like you've been with Kansas City, but you've never made a lot of money, you're probably now looking for the money. You're going, I got 3 rings. Then, yeah, I'd like to get another one to add to that. But, boy, I'd sure like to get that 4-year, $120 million deal. That's what I'd really like to get. So I think it might even be easier to lure somebody away from a club like that if they've won a few times. But then if the team doesn't, that they're going, well, you're instrumental in what we do, so you play money. But, that guard position, and if he's ranked as number 2, I'm going to take their word for it. He'd look really good in purple, right?
Sure.
And then we said we need defensive backs. Do we think Hitman's leaving? Is he going to retire, do you think?
We always under the assumption he was going to retire, but because he had such a good season and is a good fit that defense, I think there's thoughts that maybe he would maybe want to stay for another year. But I don't know. The end of the season comments from him seemed pretty emotional to me, which I think he's done.
You know who would be a good replacement? Javon Holland, Miami Dolphins. Well, he's the 3rd ranked free agent, so he must be good.
What about Lewis?
Then they've got an offensive tackle, Ronnie Stanley. And you know what Stanley really wants more than anything? He just wants to help you do things right. He's a tackle for Tenneby, we don't have room for him here. Even though he's one of the best tackles in free agency. But we do have our tackle situation, I think, taken care of. So we probably don't.
We should.
You a big fan of DJ Reed?
Brian O'Neill, he's a free agent, isn't he?
I think he might be a free agent.
So we technically might need a tackle, depending on whether we resign him or not.
How about DJ Reed? Defensive back, New York Football Jets. 28, prime of his career. We need defensive backs. What if we could somehow find a way to get Trey Smith, Javon Holland, and DJ Reed signed in offseason? What would you think of Kwesi then?
I'd say he's cooking, was what I would say.
What would you think of our cap troubles then? Those guys are going to.
That's why you play a rookie quarterback.
That's right.
Or a quarterback on his rookie contract, I should specify.
Sam Darnold's at number 7 on this list. Khalil Mack.
Quarterback.
Does Khalil Mack still have a lot of football left? He's got it.
He seems like he's hurt all the time now.
Yeah, and he's 30.
Was he with Buffalo again last year?
Chargers, LA Chargers.
Oh.
Said he's got 30. He's 33 years old. Josh Sweat, Philadelphia Eagles.
It's a great football name.
Yeah. He'll give you his blood, sweat, and tears is what he'll do. Javarius Ward, cornerback, San Francisco 49ers.
Sure.
I mean, these are guys that would look good in Minnesota Viking uniforms. Cam Robinson, Tenneby is on that list.
Where's he at?
He's with us.
No, where on the list?
Number 12. Is he considered?
Is that high, huh?
Must be kind of a weak free agent class. Amari Cooper's number 11 with the Bills. And then I noticed
he got traded to Buffalo in the season.
Steph Diggs is rated number 16. He's 31 now, and he never has seemed to be really happy anywhere he's gone, right? He's always, he was with Minnesota. He pretty much demanded a trade, did he not? Goes to Buffalo. What happened in Buffalo? I don't remember. Did he demand a trade there too, or? And
I don't know if he demanded a trade, but seemed like there was some drama off the field for a year or two. They might have just gotten sick of it after a while.
Maybe that's what
is Thielen still under contract?
I don't know. And as I'm scanning,
because if he's available, what if we bring Diggs and Thielen back with JJ and Adams? We go 4 deep. Forget your 5 running backs things. We just go with 5 wide receivers. line them up. We don't even have a running back in the backfield. We just changed the way offense is played in the National Football League.
Say it with me. Jets, Addison, Thielen,
Diggs. Let's go.
Got an idea. Get the best 5 wide receivers in the league and sign them all to your team. Now, it's a little more expensive than the top
It's a little
5
more expensive,
running backs.
yes. Yeah.
It's going to cost you more, but and then a lot of these other, I mean, there are plenty of offensive tackles available. How good they really are, I just don't know. They got a guy named Tyron Smith with the New York Jets. He's ranked as the 32nd of the top 50 free agents. I mean, how good is he? I don't know. James Daniels, guard, Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, there are plenty of free agent linemen out there, interior linemen available. It's just how good are they? How much interest do they have coming here? From what I understand, I mean, we can't sign 10 guys, I don't think. But I keep hearing that we do have.
Thielen's still under contract for 1 more year with Carolina, but he has a potential out in 2025.
Okay.
If they want to get out from that contract.
I do believe that we have enough money where we can sign. If we pinpoint our biggest issues, and I think we're close. When you look at the club, we're 14-3. I think all we really need to really get to that next level is a couple 3 offensive linemen, couple 3 defensive linemen, linebacker or 2, 3 or 4 defensive backs. I'm waiting for the wah.
Oh, I thought you were going to go to the other side of the ball.
Oh, no. That's plenty. Other than that, I think we're close. The final guy on that list, Mr. Irrelevant, would be Keenan Allen is a free agent. He's 32.
He's up there in age.
32.
His play dropped off a little bit this year.
Yeah.
Starting to show his age.
Really, the morning sun when it's in your face really shows your age. You know what song that's from? But that don't worry me none. In my eyes, you're everything. You're not familiar with it? 1971.
Huh? I mean, it sounds like a Bob Dylan song.
It's not.
Oh.
It's 1971. It's the only good song Rod Stewart ever did. You're a Rod Stewart guy. He does nothing.
No.
When he was with Faces, he was pretty good. Stay with me. But he did his first hit in 1971, a song called Maggie May.
Yeah.
And he was a young kid, just off to college, and some older woman kind of seduced him. And he didn't know if he should stay with her or not. She was hard to deal with, apparently. So they didn't know what to do. He was either going to collect his books and get on back to school, or steal his daddy's cue and make a living out of playing pool, or he even considered finding a rock and roll band and needed a helping hand. He didn't know what he wanted to do with his life. To be out of state with the gal, I think she had money. So,
what about the song he has? Trying to find the title of it because I don't know the title of it. The one that goes,
do you think I'm sexy?
No, not that one. The one that goes, someone like you makes it easy to give. Never thinking about myself.
Yeah. And then there's
someone
we've
like
played this one for montage music. Tonight's the night. Haven't we used that for montage?
Reason to Believe is the name of that song.
I guess tonight's the night's okay too. I have nothing against Rod. I just never been. Did you see here? I read a story about Elton John. Did you hear this? He did an album. He started in 23 with your gal, Brandy Carlisle, right?
Really?
And it's being released April 4th. And they apparently, how old is Elton now? You're talking about getting old.
He's got to be up there.
He's got to be, he's mid-70s? Certainly early 70s, right?
He's 77.
77, Sunset Strip. So
he looks pretty good for 77, doesn't he?
Yeah. Well, here's what it said, though, in the story. So they decided, I thought he was retiring. He has no intentions of retiring. This is the second chapter of his life or something like that. It's going to be a short chapter. I hope he lives a long time, but at 77, he's got more years behind him than he does ahead of him, right? So maybe, matter of fact, it's probably the Reader's Digest version that he has left of his life, right? And so, but he wants to keep creating. And so he did like a Beatles Get Back kind of a thing. They did all sorts of filming. They've got reels and reels, and well, they probably don't use reels anymore, but all sorts of video of him recording this with Brandy Carlisle and other people. And apparently he was basically having a nervous breakdown. He was sobbing inside the studio, tearing up sheet music in the studio, snapping at the producer, snapping at Brandy Carlisle. He was blubbering. He was, and all of a sudden, then the story says, he goes, but then all of a sudden it all started to come together. And I started feeling he started feeling it again. The vibe got back, and all of a sudden now it's being called his greatest album ever.
Wow.
At least the guy that wrote the story. And again, I don't know where you are on the Elton John fandom scale. I've told you about I call this group of artists my half a dozen.
Yeah.
I like about a half a dozen songs.
Sure.
And I know that if you're a big Elton guy, and look, you don't have to like Elton John, but you have to respect him, right? So
I'd say my favorite Elton John song is Your Song.
Well, my song, you don't even know what my song is.
What are you talking about? The song My Song. I'm talking about Your Song.
My song isn't done by Elton John.
I didn't say my song.
Well, yes, you did.
I said your song.
Yeah, I know you did, but yours. So anyway, brilliant.
We haven't done that bit in a long time. We need to get come on, Larry Mondello guy.
I think we need to get that one.
Get the
back
creative
out.
juices back.
Well, I've saved the script. Just resend the scripts. We'll do the same ones because you know what we
it's
call
a new audience anyway.
Well, not on that. You know what we call our show now? Rewind Radio. If you missed yesterday's show, you'll hear the same one today on Rewind Radio, noon to 3 on the fan. So, but here's what I'll tell you. I know enough about Elton John because it was in my wheelhouse, right? He was releasing his most successful music in the early to mid 70s. And he had, was it Madman across the 7 seas, Madman across some body of water. I don't know what it was. And then it was remarkably successful. A lot of good ditties on it. And then he had, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, which I would think is one of the largest selling albums of all time. And once you get to a certain level, don't you think it's like, well, no, it's going to be pretty hard to beat that. So if you're telling me at 77 with Brandy Carlisle, he's put out his very best album, I don't believe it. And maybe it is because I haven't listened to it. I was coaxed into listening to the title track. I think that the name of the album is something like Do You Believe in Angels or something sappy like that, right? And I listened to it, and it's like any other formulaic pop song, just pounded out with cheesy lyrics. Probably meant a lot to him at the stage of his life. I don't know. I don't think I'd be hired for a record reviewer, would I? I mean, I love him, but I just don't know if is it really his best ever? I find that hard to believe.
Well, has there ever been an artist where their best album ever was at 77 years old? I mean, it typically doesn't happen that way.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why I think you and I have discussed this before. If we haven't, we're about to now. There are some artists that can just pound out. Van Morrison has pounded out 40, 50 albums. And they're all, I haven't listened to each and every one start to finish, but they're all really good. And he's changed, he's singer-songwriter, he's a poet, he's done standards. He's one of my favorites. He's simply brilliant. Then you have the other guys, they got one album in them. Maybe two, right? And that's all they have. They don't have any more than that. That's okay. They try more, right? They have one smash album with a couple of big hits, and all of a sudden they're the biggest thing ever. Anyway, you got to get back and do another one. But then the creative well done run dry. And I know all about creative wells that have done dry. I get it. I've been there before. I mean, I would say if I was going to name one of my favorite bands, this might not be my favorite, but one of them would Guess Who?
Well, you're not the Beatles?
No, Guess Who?
I mean, I would have thought the Beatles would have been your favorite band. I guess I'll go with Donovan.
No, I just said, Guess Who?
The Who?
No, guess who?
I don't know. How am I supposed to guess? You know how many bands have performed over the years? I mean, I know it's before 1980, so at least like it cuts off a good chunk of the bands, but I don't know. Led Zeppelin, the Rolling Stones. I don't know who.
It's so good. God, what are the other ones Larry Mundell, the guy, came up with? The Band was another really good one.
The Band was good.
That was Band. I've got them somewhere.
I might have them somewhere.
I got them too. I mean, we call it. If you thought yesterday was bad, you're going to get the exact same thing today on Rewind Radio, noon to 3 here on the Fan. Rewind Radio. Ranked number 12, Barrett Sports Media 2024 Sports Talk Shows of Best Sports Talk Shows 2024. Barrett Sports Media. So anyways, we could probably bring those back out again.
I got one with yes. Who and yes.
That's another good one. Those are some of our favorites. Some of the other good ones too were the where we would take the definitions of words like glossaries, medical glossary, right? And then it would whatever the word we would put a different twist on it.
I got one with Kevin Na.
Do you like Kevin? Do you like Kevin Na?
I have a 3-way bit with me, you, and Rosen.
What was that one about?
You? Was that someone's name or something? I forget who you was.
Know.
Is that an artist? I don't know who you was.
You too?
I've got the Weeknd one. Remember?
The Weeknd played that was probably Super Bowl.
And I do have a Who bit.
Yeah. Well, I bet the audience would really like to hear these. If you haven't, it's really... Are you familiar with Abbott and Costello's legendary Who's on First bit? These are loosely based on those. And I do say loosely. And hang on loosely. Hang on Sloopy. But these are really good, so maybe we'll bring those back. As far as the free agents go, tend to be, I mean, it's always fun. The reason I just threw out a bunch of names there just basically to give people an idea who's out there and to kill a segment until Mark Rosen comes in. But you're not going to get, I don't think you and I are going to sit there and speculate who the Vikings are going to get because they're just names. We don't know what they want, who the Vikings are looking at in particular, what these players are looking for, et cetera. It's hard to know. I think the Vikings are going to say Joe Bag of Donuts. He's a free agent right guard for someone. You don't know that unless you're actually taught. Now, Rosen, he's well connected. He might know those things.
Yes.
But most of the rest of the people aren't going to know. But we'll know more. What is it? Free agency that starts in, I don't remember. We had the dates just the other day. Free agency obviously comes before the draft. So it's free agency. Then it's the draft. It's February 18th through the 26th.
February 18th is when players can be designated with franchise or transition players. You got the scouting combine is February 24th through March 3rd.
Okay.
It looks like the negotiation period for free agency begins March 10th, but then the first actual day of free agency is March 12th.
Right.
At 3 p.m. Central Time.
So it's right about a month away. So there's a couple of days to negotiate, then they can start the signings. And I would imagine the Vikings will be very busy. It'll be very interesting.
The draft is in Green Bay this year. We could drive to it.
Yeah. Oh, boy. Hey, you want to drive with me?
You want to go together? You want to carpool?
You're breaking up. We'll pause, come back. Mark Rosen joins us for an hour of nonstop nonsense, tomfoolery, and skullduggery. That's next here on The Fan.